Hello, YouTube host my Rumble users. Today we're going to talk about the emotional differences between a parent and why sometimes a child or teenager, or even an adult son or daughter, may not end up sharing with their parents about their own vulnerabilities that they may have. And I think the first reason here are generational differences, all right? What I mean by generational differences is that the parents out there, especially if they're immigrant families, or they may have been taught in the culture or social harmony and keeping the family's name, especially with close connection with others over overt confrontation about issues may be valued. The problem with this is that these parents speak a different emotional language. They may have not been taught how to keep their own emotional well-being, essentially speaking. Then let's say they move to a new country, actually they have kids. Their kids may have been taught in the new country's idea, or especially with the modern view of how to take on emotions and how to express them. The child may be willing to express their own emotions, but then the parents may view it as indifference or unintentionally dismiss their child's feelings or whatever happened to them and saying to them that they've gone through worse. And this is especially amplified in immigrant families, is that parents might say that they're doing the best for them, and then this can cause more problems because it has the potential for confrontation, especially when viewed through a third party lens. A third party viewer may end up viewing the child who's emotionally overt about their parents, talking about it as disruptive, weak, or disrespectful. The problem with this is that vulnerability is viewed as weakness, even though it's something that connects families. And here are generational differences. The second thing here is the idea of patriarchal differences, right? Let's say, for example, there's dad and mother. They're taught that the dad is the king of the house. He's the man of the house. He does everything. You're supposed to yield to him and say yes for that matter. And the problem that I have with this is that children who, again, may open with their parents, if they end up sharing their own emotions, the dad might see them as weak. They might see them as that their experiences are trivial and that they have gone through worse. All right. The problem is that this dismisses the child's emotions and the validity of what they're going through, and then it only leaves room for more potential of escalation because the father might also end up taking this as a form of disrespect. We know sometimes children, especially with teens, even I say things sometimes wrong. The father might end up taking that as a form of disrespect, and then it ends up being destructive for the family because it might result in more escalation. For example, I've talked about how sometimes certain Asian cultures have this issue of I'm just gonna talk about it here. I've talked about it. I'm gonna link this video at the end or in the description. So, in an anecdotal example that connects to this, I am required and morally obliged not to reveal certain details in respect to the boundaries of the relationship that I'm going to talk about. But what I'm going to say now is, I've had this boy. He was talking to me from the Philippines, and apparently, what he's told me is that he and his girlfriend, they were talking about doing the dirty, just talking about having the fun stuff that makes children. They were thinking about doing that stuff in the future. Think of it like a couple, for that matter. And they're also talking about anything that's relationship related. Problem is, the family end up finding out about this through the texts, and now apparently what I've been hearing is that they're punishing the girl because number one, at least take this with a grain of salt. I don't know if this is true. What I've beginning to infer is that they're punishing her because she quote unquote lost her V card and apparently looks way less worthful to the family compared to someone who didn't lose their V card. Again, there is no verifiable evidence that they did the dirty stuff together. And what I'm saying now is apparently they see her as less worthful because she's apparently tarnished the family name, essentially speaking. She's making her family look bad. And the problem that I see with this is that they're taking her software and they're punishing her. Instead of talking personally to them and giving them the talk, instead of taking them to a couples counselor, they're just punishing her. That doesn't solve solutions. That just makes things worse.